3d6 down the line.
Okay, that is episode 101 in the books.
The
How do you feel about all that, Mike?
Rudishvan Gambit. Yes.
Like going into this episode, going into this episode, I would have thought that we had like the coolest fans ever, but apparently that's not true. They're sadistic and they're mean.
The fans have learned, like all of us have, Mike, over the years, that making you miserable is the definition of cool.
Yeah, it's a fine line between sadism and cool, really. If you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, it starts with torturing cats, and then it's torturing Mike. You know, it's,
Good shit.
The cats might be able to pronounce Rudishvan a little bit better.
I think so.
Team
I think so.
Ted has a very early morning this morning, so that is why Ted is not with us tonight. But great episode in general.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't like make a lot of like geographical progress, but you know that room is loaded with cool shit. So yeah,
it is. It's really loaded,
yeah.
and I could not figure out what was going on with the enchantment with them. Like what was I know you probably can't tell us, but what was it about it that was like making my turn just not even be applicable?
it was the magical enchantment. So you have to remember what Aklachaw told you guys about the history of the Rudishva, that after the ambush occurred, the Kalyani betrayal occurred, that when the ambush occurred and they were overrun and they were slaughtered almost to a man, they had to realign like what they were going to do. Like they realized they couldn't repair the beacon anymore. That was a done deal, right? And so they had to figure out another way to basically extend their life as much as they possibly could do it, because there were so few of them. And they said that they turned to other means once they discovered Arcanum. Right. So,
I did say that.
yeah. Also, one of the triggers was like the Arcanum glow in their eyes, sort of thing. You know, there was some sort of there was a magic force that was in place in addition to whatever normal undead stuff was going on. But this appears to be a particular mix of like techno sorcery of some sort, right? Like it's a weird. It doesn't seem like the kind of undead that you're used to fighting, like Lothar in particular, right? Like you wouldn't be able to kind of peg this as like if we went the AD&D route, like where you would say like all undead sort of derive their power from like the negative material, negative energy plane or whatever it was called, right?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Or the Shadowfell or whatever they want to name it, right?
Yeah, in AD&D, I think it was like the negative plane or something like that. But anyways, these guys don't derive their power from that. It's a different sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's completely different.
Gotcha. So they're just kind of probably immune to turning. It wasn't necessarily attached to like any kind of like field of magic around them or anything like that. That's correct,
yeah. It's in their nature. So there would be, you can probably bank that for, because now there are a couple more Dietrich skeletons floating around.
Yeah.
That there's nothing that you can do to make them vulnerable to turning.
Gotcha.
It's just part of their nature. Yeah.
Do you guys think this big shaft up is a bit of a red herring? I almost feel like it might be a bit of a red herring.
I don't know. It might be, but we have to explore it, because this, if there's any alignment to pieces of the ship, right, when it broke apart and phased in, like if it phased in all as a piece, right, then if it was vertically oriented, then it would be like aligned up and down. So following a vertical shaft like this is a good way to check and see if there's at the top of it another piece adjacent to this shaft, right? You know what I'm saying?
Which might be where those skeletons are, but here's the thing. Number one, I really do think that all these bodies that are gathered up on the bottom of this thing are hapless assholes who tried to do the same thing we did. Maybe there's residue on I don't know, residue on their skin is gone, but I was going to say like residue of other silvery pool stuff that, maybe it wears off after a turn and you're only halfway up or down the shaft, right? I mean, something tells me that other people have tried this and it didn't work out well for them.
Yeah, I think that these guys fell. I mean, we haven't examined these bones yet. We can examine and see if they were killed down here, those bones are going to look different rather than if they fell all that way, right? If they fell all that way, those bones are going to be broken and smashed. If they were killed by these skeletons, they'll have like sword marks on them or something, right?
And because the blast radius didn't go as far to where the bones were, they would be in the condition they were in. prior.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
can tell you right now, actually, like it's a mix, like Matt said. The vast majority of the bones that are down there appear to be from falling from a distance, like they're crushed. You know what I mean, like pulverized. Some of them, though, do appear to have been like there's scoring marks on them from weapons and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But
So some of them make sense. Good.
We know that the distance from the surface to like the Pentarch level is 750 feet. So I've ascended 300. Another 400 distance to the surface.
Yeah. We can also, I mean, as a hypothetical, we can put this against the cross section that we have. If we think that this garbage pile is the bottom of the cavern, that can give us a base to try to measure up from, and then we can later see if that aligns.
The chasm would then be 500. I mean, the halls of Thoth are 250 feet down, and that's the top of the chasm, right? And we know that the Pentarch level is 750, according to our cross section. So yeah,
but we don't know where in the shaft we are. The shaft is, or I'm sorry, yeah, like where in the chasm we are. Like we could be at the southern tip, we could be at the northern tip. We don't know because we teleported to this area.
You're saying there could be a variable depth to the chasm depending on where it is.
I mean, partly that, but also like where are we on? Like if you're looking at the map and it looks kind of like a banana, where on the banana are we? We don't know.
Sure. I'm not sure. I'm not certain that I think the trash pile. Okay, so like, I'll just go to I'll just do it live. Let's go to the halls of Thoth. Right. The trash pile, if we believe that is at the base of the chasm, would mean our shaft, our mag lift is slightly west of one of those. There's a room with a seer's chair in it. That would be an appropriate location. But point being is like I don't know that they are. He's back. I lost Mike for a second.
Still here.
Weird. In any case, I don't know that this mag lift is part of the chasm. I think it's adjacent to it, but it may still be the same height.
Yeah. One thing that we can do with the new charges and what we found out about them, we can go and try a shaped charge in the garbage area to blow up and see if we can get clearance. Right?
Yeah.
If we can, that could blow a hole straight through to what is the bottom of the Great Chasm, which is what we think maybe, right? It could just be another garbage pit, but it could be the bottom of the chasm, which would be really cool.
I just really think we're on the ball. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we do have to just kind of stay on target. We're like at the point now where all we need is the drive shaft. And then all we need is the fuel, like to start the fuel exchange, which we have the info on. So doing like giant chasm delving, like whatever, unless we think that the engine room with the drive shaft is somewhere up that maglev thing, is kind of like the whole thing is like kind of outside the point. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we know with a certainty that the cryo section had not been relocated and is in Plunger Town, which is, 500 feet above us, right? So there, like Matt was saying, there's a high plausibility there's verticality in the split of these pieces, which means the engine room could be one of those, right?
There was a room.
Maybe
there was a room off the cryo chamber thing that we were never able to access.
Right.
So we might want to
garbage at the bottom.
No, I didn't remember that, but we don't. But we could try and use the keypad things that we have to go through that door that was in the northern part of the cryo chamber that we could not get past before. I think that might be maybe the most efficient thing that we could do next. And then also we're by the death pot, which we can deactivate and finally get laser guns. So
yeah, I think we should definitely go there. I think we'd be missing a huge opportunity not exploring this magnetized.
Because it's right here.
It's literally Rudishvan. Not because I want to go. I agree that we should stay on task. I just think this may be attached to the task itself.
Because right now our main task is finding that engine room.
Yeah. Right. I mean, to put it a different way, if they found this to be a significant enough means of transit to put 2 undead, forever living guards at every single exit ramp, which is likely what it is, right? I'm sure. Let's say every 300 feet there's a juncture. I don't know why, but let's just say there is, and we know it's a 750 foot tall thing, and we got 2, 3, exits. Where it exits to, if it's on the surface, I don't know, but I don't see why it would exit internally. I don't think it stops the chasm. I think it goes all the way to the surface for some reason.
I don't think it does, and I'll tell you why. It's because the only vertical shaft that we've been able to find from the surface was the Well of Light, which we know doesn't go down that deep. And there's no daylight we're doing this at 8:30 in the morning. There's no daylight at the top of that shaft, right? So
I think it exits to like the palace or something. There are so
yeah,
many structures that we never looked at.
Could go to like a building.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
yeah. I think it goes to a building on the surface, but I could be wrong.
I think there might have been a misnotation, or maybe I gave you the wrong information. But the Lost Chambers of Arden, the Pentarch level or whatever you're calling it, that was pretty much right at the level of the ground, right? Because you dipped into the pool, right, more or less. So the entire height of the main falls is about 1,500 feet. So you can,
it's tall. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you assume that the Lost Chambers of Arden are on the plane of the basin, right? You're talking about 1,500 feet from the plateau top.
So it's higher than I thought.
For that level, yeah.
And we don't know how far down the chasm goes. The chasm doesn't necessarily go all the way down to the bottom.
Correct.
We haven't seen any evidence of it down that low.
Suffice it to say, without making any stops along the way, if we came up with an interesting way of subverting the detection of these skeleton guys, so cast silence on one of us, it doesn't affect us, fly up. Right, like, or
we also don't know invisibility. We don't know if they can see invisibility.
Grab the invisible stalker, dude.
I'll say this: they did not seem to notice Mort when he was invisible at the start of the battle.
Oh, there you go.
So, for instance, not that you want not that I should solo adventure, but for instance, me or someone who can fly could put on the invisible ring, go test that theory in front of that first juncture with y'all having some means of catching me if I fall, right? And now we know. And then we have the whole group, and it's some sort of transit methodology from there.
We have means of getting several people invisible. I know we have at least one potion of invisibility, maybe more. Yeah. We have the ring, and I think there's a couple other magic items that I think we can get invisible folks. The other thing that is interesting, and I like the way you ran this, John, because we still don't know if that effect can be dispelled. Yes. Because they moved out of the way. She, tried to dispel in an area and would miss them. So it's still possible that could take them down. And the fact that they seem to be enchanted creatures, so that Yakin's bones, is it Jakin or Yak? I can't remember.
I say Yakin. I don't know if that's true.
Your point on that with the Yakin's bones is genius, because then we could literally go up to that area, although they still could do their sound attacks.
Still throw stuff. Yeah, you block off your ears. Yeah, they can still throw their femurs at you, but that's better than.
Right? I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about. I doubt this would be the case, but to err on caution from Mike, I'm worried about coating ourselves in silver and launching up and squatting on the ceiling at the top. You know what I mean? Like not having any way of breaking our momentum at the top. That would be a very malicious design on the designer's part. So I want to assume that's not the case, but it's kind of a gotcha. But
when Mort coated his hand and stuck it into the shaft, it raised up not like a rail gun, like he was saying. It actually raised up about the same speed that your boots would cause you to raise up.
Okay, that's very good to know. So I think as long as we have silence on us, they can scream at us all we want. If we don't stop to say hi, they're not going to do much to us, because we're just going to go hi, bye, and just in other words, if we are just going up,
they definitely reacted to you when they saw you.
No. But what if they can't hit penetrate our sound barrier, and we are moving up the shaft and not stopping on that floor? We just pass them. They yell. We continue. Right. That's my point.
They might be able to chuck the mundane, bones, but maybe it all depends.
It'd be hard to hit us. Yeah, but no, it's fair. That's fair, John.
Yeah.
Also, I think the mundane wax is going to be a better solution there, because even in the silent spell, you can still hear stuff from outside. you just can't generate sound within that. So if something's outside, you can still hear that. At least as I remember when we were like using it in Monkey Town.
It allows us to keep the spell for an emergency, for emergency.
Yeah.
The plan's solid though. Definitely you can pick that up next time if that's what you want to do. But yeah, the forces you brought to bear in that battle were pretty tight. Like you definitely covered a lot of your bases there and did whatever you could, And even the stuff that went wrong, none of those were like bad ideas, right? At least you're able to like eliminate some things all, and you learn.
I mean, the Groundhog's Day approach to dungeoneering was really, really funny to me.
Yeah,
just like go in, screw it up. But we have this safe place as far as we can tell, right? It's very, very difficult for anything to get in here. We haven't seen monsters wandering around loosely, so. That was the only reason why it wasn't ludicrous to, sleep in the dungeon,
Well, and that's the big thing is like the reason I mentioned, I don't know, last time, I think it was a couple sessions ago, that this would be a good location for our new headquarters was we know Plasteel and the Iris stores are damn near impossible to penetrate. And we now know that there's a series of gates predicated upon key cards that are rarefied that we have, as far as we know, the only version of. There may be others, but that basically means no one's coming in anytime. No one's coming in. The one thing is we did just kill like our guards to the shaft on this floor, but they still have to get through the Iris store with a captain's key card.
And we have an alarm spell that we can do anytime we really want.
So this is the safest location that we've found anywhere in the dungeon to have our shit.
Agreed. Safe. So I'm wondering if maybe we want to relocate our stash shit down here.
I would immediately do that. Now, I mean, again, we're aiming to leave altogether. So like getting too in the weeds about moving our stash might be pointless at this juncture at this stealth. But like,
the thing about that though is like, part of me, and I know this is role playing, but part of me is just still like, it doesn't matter if we're leaving, like we still would want to protect the shit that we have, right? Like especially all the items that we've accumulated or whatever.
The narrative
I do want to know what that ring does, like badly. I have the Aurora Boreas or whatever that thing is. Usually is like some sort of shut up. The fuck.
Oh my God, the Aurora Borealis.
No, not the Aurora Borealis. Ouroboros or whatever it's called. The Ouroboros.
The Rudishvan Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyway, but they usually have some sort of implication to go along with healing magic, right? Or healing something or other. So I want to know what its effects are, just because, hey, man, having something that you can drop a heal on us, like, or on someone extra keeps us going longer. And I think that would be useful.
And don't forget, you can taste potions to determine what they do.
And see what they are. Yep.
You guys haven't imbibed a lot of potions in this campaign.
We really haven't, man, because we have the same hesitancy to use one-shot items that I think most players do. Well, this might not be the moment to use it,
I mean, fucking burn.
I know.
Yeah. I've been burning scrolls more lately because of that, but even still, frankly, there aren't a lot of circumstances to use it because we don't pursue combat very often.
Yeah.
So they're really, really fucking useful when we use them all together in compounding ways, like this run.
Yeah.
And there have been a few other times where we've like just barely gotten by, but it's easy to forget when we're like in deep shit to use all of those tools. That's why the beads of force were so crucial.
Where those were good
with those.
They're really, really good. I think we have like one. We have like one left, two left, something like that.
I think we have one more left. I don't have mine.
I like it when like a magic item that I forgot you guys have suddenly comes to bear. Like I was just talking to these guys while you were saying goodnight to your kids, Mike, to see Finisher finally brought into action. You know what I mean? In a way that is like super effective.
First time.
I was like, oh yeah, Finisher. That's a fucking badass weapon. You know.
I've been waiting to use it, man. We just have not been running into undead that we can actually
and I
fight.
think this is a topic that I won't go deep into because I think we don't have a lot more time on the detox. But I think this is a really big. It's no criticism to Richard or anyone else. I think this is a really big example of why magic items that have more to do with interacting with the world than combat are, at least in my opinion, the best possible magic item designs.
Oh, sure.
The immovable rod is better than any weapon I'll ever pick up, in my opinion. Period. Now it's not like the immovable rod's my favorite thing on earth, but like that type of thinking, the sort of thinking that makes you really engage with the world space in unexpected fashions. Even the invisible stalker ring, right? Like it's a combat item. in that it's a really deadly monster.
Right.
But the beauty of the invisible stalker ring isn't that it's a summoning item. It's that it is a location item, right? Like that is amazing, right? I don't know, or a locating item.
You can see it, right? We're lucky in that you have the exact combination of items that let you see it, because otherwise it's not that at all.
That's true. That's true. It's not as written. That isn't the case. That's a very good point. But our synergy around it has made it very interesting. Go ahead.
That's all you, David. Like all props go to you because you figured that out with that threat.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's cool. I mean, because it's like, as you said, it's like most of the time no one can see that stalker. So it purely is like a killing thing. You know what I mean? But you figured out a way to actually make it a tracking device, which is amazing.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah. But I love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
One of the other items that I think that is better than any combat item we've ever gotten is the helmet that allows you to read any language. I mean, you can't tell me that is like hands down probably maybe even better than the crown, the regalia, because people aren't after everybody for that, right? So that helmet, man, has opened every door for us since we found it.
And I know that the circumstance of like you finding that helm right when you needed to really dive into the Rudishvan language looks like a Deus Ex Machina, and that it may have placed that there just so you could have the tools. But as anyone out there who's been following along on their own copy of Arden can verify, if you look at that screen, that was written in the mod in that place where you found it as the thing that you find there. It was not like something where it's like, I'm just going to give this to them so they don't have to struggle with Rudishvan. It was literally like you just happened to get it at exactly the right time.
Also, that was a really kind of random choice that Ted and I made to come back through the Goonies water slide
I wasn't
into that level anyway.
Yeah, your whole plan was to like go back up into the fungal caverns, back up to the back door, and all that sort of stuff, you know. And
then we started realizing like, hey, we got all this water breathing stuff. Hey, let's give it a shot.
It's just amazing. Yeah, I love that sort of stuff. I love it. I don't know if I read something that gave me this idea or not, but on the removal rod thing, I really want to write a magic item that's like like stiff as a board sort of thing. That's a sheet that you can use a command word to harden in any shape that you put the sheet in, and it's just hard until it's not. I just want to see what people would do with that, right? Like, some people find it and be like, "Wow, this is fucking stupid. I'd never use it." Right? And then someone would come up with some brilliant thing that I could never have conceived of, right? And that's what I love. I love that sort of enablement.
That's why I like the like the trinkets charts in Dolmenwood and stuff like that. You know, like where they just give you like a weird random item, and there's like Chris McDowell does that a lot in his Into the Odd Bastionland games. You know, just like weird shit that you just happen to have. And it's like, I don't know what this is for. Figure it out. You know. Right. Yeah.
Did we have an immovable rod at one point?
That was Dolmenwood, I think.
I think Dolmenwood.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think my money is still, because you can duplicate what the helmet does with spells, right? If you have the right thing with the magic, my money is still on that sack. Talking about like being able to pull out exactly the right mundane, simple, stupid little item, but there's always a solve.
Yeah. Right.
There's always a solve with the right little mundane thing. And that just talking about giving your players agency for creative solutions to things.
Big time.
That thing is my favorite by
100%. And because it has some limitations, it scales well with the entire dungeon, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I would understand why someone would be afraid it was game breaking, but I don't think it ever is. I really don't. No. I think it requires enough creativity, like you said, Matt, that it remains very powerful no matter when, right? But never in a way that just like undermines the point of play, right? It never feels like it's doing something that like cheapens the dungeon experience for me. Instead, it like amplifies it. It makes me think more about the dungeon. Almost
every use has been like a memorable thing, like the pulling the chickens out and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's been,
I've noticed that we seem to be using it a lot less since we've gotten like a little bit higher level. Like, we're not high level, don't get me wrong, but really, like, I mean, the twine, like things like that we have used it for. Maybe now we're kind of relying on it having other stuff at our disposal, you know, running back to the stash and grabbing the perfect item from there or whatever. I'm not saying it's not useful.
You know what I think it is really is we're in a part of the dungeon right now, a themed part where the way that we open doors is with these key cards and technology and things. right? Like I haven't tried to pull a key card out of there, but I doubt that would work, even though they're not magical. Maybe.
That wouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
but still, we don't need to.
Right
we haven't needed it that much because we have the stuff that we need. It's the thing, it's the bag of necessity. It's the thing that you need when you don't have stuff. We have all the stuff that we need for this kind of technology level.
True.
So
true.
Yeah, it is an example of the heavier the theme in a really good way in a lot of ways also means that it's inherently more linear because there are just certain things that you can't subvert otherwise, right? Like there's just going to be the case. But yeah, it's really interesting.
But you guys have a lot of stuff at your disposal now, a lot of powers. I'm saying that like you have a lot of mobility, mostly. Like you can, we kind of gloss over every recent episodes about you kind of jumping back to the stash to deposit stuff, but that's like a huge thing you're able to do now, and that was the culmination of that entire last delve of like the fungal, it was getting the fucking rug back, right?
It's huge. I mean, I think I did some big rant ages ago on Discord about that, but I think mobility is the most important power in a mega dungeon by far.
For this one,
having a subway system in whatever way that looks, whether that's embedded into design or it's magical, that's power. I mean, it's everything because then you're bending time.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally, and time is the biggest killer for us all, but especially in a dungeon.
I love the fact that he put in like multiple fast travel networks in the dungeon, that are not without a challenge to discover. So you feel satisfied when you get it, but now you've unlocked, I'd say like 3 of them, 4, I guess, because if
we have
fire
tiles,
portal, the tiles, the
fire portal,
Rudishvan network, the fire portal, and the rugs.
Troll lifts. We have keys to that. We haven't even used it, and we
haven't used the troll lifts. Yeah.
Well,
the boots
and
of levitation.
I love that. Yes, and I love that implicit in all of these different types is either they're all culturally specific. So it's either like expressed in kind of a balkanized way, aka these are factions that don't interact anymore like peacefully, so they have different ways that they have to do this thing, or historically, right? This is how people did it at different times within the dungeon, which is just a very good story. It's just great world building, right? It says so much. The troll elevator, the name alone is like tells a huge story. That's it. Yeah. Right.
The other thing maybe that's just as important as fast travel is having like a safe haven, and having more than one safe haven. We've never made it to the set markets. We've never made it to the Inn of the Lost. We've never made it to, what I'm saying? Like there are multiple places that other people having this campaign probably set up a safe haven within like maybe the first like 5 to 10 sessions, right?
Yeah,
and then just expanded
basic
from there.
Locations,
But Mike, and Garolad was so annoying. You don't understand. We had things
he needed to die. He needed to die.
We needed about 70 episodes to really work that one out.